Picture this. 10,000 people packed into Rome's Foro Italico, marble statues of ancient athletes lining the walls, the smell of clay dust hanging in the warm Italian air, and somewhere in the royal box, the most awkward silence in tennis history is unfolding. Nobody planned it. Nobody scripted it. But when Roger Federer walked into that stadium and made one very deliberate choice about where he was going, the entire tennis world stopped breathing for a moment, and the cameras caught every single second of it. Here is what happened, and more importantly, here is what it actually means. The Italian Open semifinals were in full swing. The central court at the Foro Italico was electric, one of those Roman afternoons where the sun hits the clay just right and everything feels cinematic. The royal box was loaded, former champions, tournament officials, dignitaries from across Italy, and right there near the center of it all sat Aryna Sabalenka, the world number one. She had been knocked out in the quarterfinals, which for someone of her caliber is the kind of result that sits with you. It stings quietly. But she had stayed in Rome. She had not packed her bags and flown home to lick her wounds. She was there, composed, professional, doing what champions do when things do not go their way. She showed up anyway. The Philippine flags that had become a signature sight throughout the tournament were still dotted around the stadium. Fewer than before because the player they came for was no longer competing, but still there. Still waving. Because that is what Filipinos do for Alex Eala, and if you do not know that name yet, pay very close attention, because this story starts and ends with her. Alex Eala is 20 years old. She is from Manila. She came into the Italian Open as someone the casual tennis fan might have overlooked on a draw sheet, but anyone who had actually watched her play knew there was something different about her. Not just the tennis, though the tennis is genuinely extraordinary for someone her age. It was the way stadiums transformed when she walked onto them. It was the flags. It was the chants. It was the sound of an entire diaspora, Filipinos living in Italy, in Germany, in the UK, in the US, all showing up together and turning a foreign country into something that felt like home for a 20-year-old kid from Manila. She had been brilliant at this tournament. Genuinely brilliant. And then her ankle gave out. Grade 2 sprain. The kind of injury that does not just end your week, it ends your next month. The French Open was gone. Just like that. Everything she had been building toward, gone. She had withdrawn from the Italian Open, watched her Roland Garros dreams disappear in a moment of bad luck on a clay court, and now she was sitting in the royal box at the Foro Italico, probably wondering what comes next. Then Roger Federer walked in. Now you have to understand something about Federer's appearances at tournaments since his retirement. They are rare. When he does show up, he tends to keep a low profile. He slips in, he watches, he slips out. He is not someone who makes grand gestures in public settings very often. So when he walked into that royal box with purpose, people noticed immediately. The entire box noticed. And what happened next is the reason this story has been talked about non-stop ever since. Federer walked past Aryna Sabalenka. Just walked right past her. Not rudely, not dismissively, but deliberately. His eyes were somewhere else. His destination was somewhere else. He kept walking until he reached Alex Eala, and then he stopped. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small navy box. Aya's eyes went wide. She had no idea this was coming. She had not been warned, had not been prepared, had not been told to expect anything from anyone that afternoon. Her hands were shaking as she reached for it. Inside the box was a platinum bracelet. Engraved on it were 5 words. For the fighter who never quits. The tears hit her before she even had a chance to process what was happening. Her lip trembled. Her shoulders shook. And Federer, without asking permission, without any kind of formal ceremony, just reached down and buckled that bracelet onto her wrist like it was the most natural thing in the world. Then he pulled her into a hug. Not the polite, one-armed, seen you at charity dinner kind of hug. A real one. The kind where both people hold on for a moment longer than they planned. Aya's arms wrapped around him, and she just held on, and for a few seconds this 20-year-old who had been through an emotional ringer over the past week looked like the weight of it all was finally lifting. Then he said it. Right into her ear, quiet enough that the microphones barely caught it. You remind me of why I started playing tennis. Not for the trophies. For the feeling of making people believe. Now, the easy story here is Federer and Aya. The heartwarming moment. The legend honoring the rising star. And yes, that is a beautiful story on its own. But the reason this clip has been watched over 40 million times is not just because of what Federer did. It is because of what the cameras caught on Aryna Sabalenka's face while he was doing it. She watched the whole thing. Every second of it. She was just a few feet away and she did not look away. Her expression in those first few frames is the thing of a champion, controlled, composed, unreadable. The mask that every elite athlete learns to wear because at that level, you cannot afford to let every emotion live on your face. But then Federer hugs Aya, and something shifts. You can see it. Not anger. Not jealousy. And I want to be really clear about that because a lot of the commentary around this moment has been lazy and unfair to Sabalenka. What you see on her face is recognition. She has seen this before. She has watched the way tennis audiences respond to Aya. She has seen the flags and heard the chants and felt the particular energy that follows this kid around every tournament she enters. She knows. And in that moment, watching Federer make his choice, watching the greatest player in the history of the sport walk past her to reach someone else, she was not humiliated. She was reflecting. There is a difference, and it matters. To understand why that expression cuts so deep, you need to understand Sabalenka's relationship with Federer, because it is not casual admiration. She grew up watching him. She studied his game, his movement, his ability to make tennis look like something between sport and art. She has said publicly that whenever Federer speaks, she listens. He is not just a legend to her. He is a standard. So when the standard walks past you in the royal box, there is a moment, even for the world number one, even for someone with 4 Grand Slams and years of dominance, where you feel something. She felt something. The cameras caught it. And the tennis world has not been able to look away. Now here is the part of this story that I think gets overlooked in all the noise about expressions and social media clips. Sabalenka did not leave. She did not make an excuse to slip out early. She stayed, she watched, and later when journalists asked her about the moment, she said this. Alex deserves it. She is special. Everyone can see it. No bitterness. No passive aggression. No carefully worded non-answer. Designed to seem gracious while actually throwing shade. Just a clean, honest acknowledgement from the world number one that what happened in that royal box made complete sense. That is actually remarkable. That is a champion responding to a genuinely difficult moment with grace, and it deserves to be recognized just as much as any of the rest of this story. The paths of these two players have been crossing more than most people realize. At Indian Wells back in March, they were on the practice courts together, trading heavy ground strokes under the desert sun. At the Miami Open pre-tournament party, they were photographed in the same room, both of them turning heads for completely different reasons. In the days before the Italian Open, they were linked to the same practice partner, an American rising star who hit with Aya one day and Sabalenka the next. Their tennis worlds are already overlapping, and one day, probably sooner than the rankings might currently suggest, they are going to be on opposite sides of a net in a match that matters enormously. Sabalenka knows it. She said it herself before any of this royal box business happened. She is going to be a problem for a lot of people. That quote hits differently now. Back to Federer, because I do not think we should let that gesture pass without sitting with it for a moment longer. He is a 20-time Grand Slam champion. He has been celebrated by billions of people across 5 decades of tennis. He has seen talent in every form the sport produces. And he chose to spend his rare appearance at the Italian Open honoring a 20-year-old who lost in the 3rd round. But because Federer has always understood something that pure statistics cannot capture. He understands what it means to represent something bigger than yourself. He built an entire career not just on winning but on the way he made people feel about tennis. The elegance, the joy, the sense that watching him was a privilege rather than just a sporting event. And when he saw Alex Eala, he did not see a 3rd-round exit. He saw a 20-year-old carrying the dreams of 110 million people on her shoulders. He saw stadiums full of Filipino flags in countries far from the Philippines. He saw a diaspora using tennis as a way to feel seen, to feel proud, to feel connected to something. He saw himself not in the titles, but in the purpose. That bracelet was not a consolation prize. It was recognition from someone who understands exactly what that kind of responsibility feels like, and wanted her to know that someone sees it. The internet, predictably, exploded. 40 million views in the first few hours. Comment sections that read like a sociology experiment on loyalty, identity, and what we actually want from our sports heroes. Some people said Sabalenka looked heartbroken and that Federer had been dismissive of the world number one. Some people said she is the number one ranked player in the world with 4 majors. She does not need Roger Federer to walk over and give her jewelry. Some people pointed out that this was never a competition, that Federer honoring Aya says nothing negative about Sabalenka, that 2 things can be true at once. That last group was right, by the way. The framing of this as some kind of slight against Sabalenka fundamentally misunderstands what actually happened. Federer was not ranking players. He was not issuing a verdict on who matters more in women's tennis. He saw a young fighter in a moment of pain and he chose to show her that her journey had meaning beyond wins and losses. That is not a commentary on Sabalenka. That is just a human being doing something kind. The reason it resonated so loudly is because of what Aya represents to so many people who feel like the world does not always stop to notice them. Every Filipino fan who has ever stayed up until 3 in the morning to watch a match because of the time difference. Every member of the diaspora who has waved a flag in a foreign stadium hoping someone on the other side of a screen back home would see it. Every young girl in Manila who put up a poster and started dreaming about something that had never seemed possible before. Federer saw all of that in one 20-year-old on a clay court in Rome, and he wanted her to know it. That is why it went 40 million views in a day. That is why Sabalenka's expression became the second most talked about thing in the clip, because she is one of the greatest players alive and even she felt the weight of that moment. Sport at its best does this. It gives people something to believe in that is bigger than a scoreboard. Alex Eala is going to be back. The ankle will heal. Roland Garros this year might be gone, but there will be another one. There will be many more. And when she walks back onto a clay court for the first time after this, she is going to have a platinum bracelet and 5 words that a 20-time Grand Slam champion thought important enough to engrave and fly to Rome to deliver in person. For the fighter who never quits. The question this whole story leaves you with is actually not about Federer or about Aya. It is about Sabalenka. Because she sat in that royal box, she felt something she was not expecting to feel, she handled it with more class than most people would have managed, and then she went back to work. When she reflects on this moment years from now, with whatever perspective time gives her, will the memory be the sting of being passed by, or will it be the moment she truly understood what it is that Aya has, the thing that rankings and titles cannot manufacture, and maybe started thinking about how to find her own version of it? That is the real story. That is the one worth watching.